Welcome everyone to the City Council meeting tonight of December 10th. You can stand up, start off with a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Middlecombe?
Here.
Artino? Claus?
Here.
Cap?
Here.
Dyke?
Here.
Greaves?
Here.
Peggy?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Klaus.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to excuse Mr. Artino and Mr. Heggie from tonight's meeting.
Questions on that motion? Roll call, please.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Greaves?
Yes.
Middlecombe?
Yes.
Okay. No minutes. Audience comments. Gentlemen, pay attention. Ladies. Citizens may address their concerns to the City Council. Please state your name and address for the recorded journal, and please keep it to a 3-minute time limit. Anybody? I'd like to welcome, I guess everybody's from Mrs. Merkin's class. Is that correct? Okay. Well, welcome, and you guys are welcome to come anytime. Would any of you like to come up and say anything? No? All right. Okay. Very good. Moving on, we'll go to old business. Ordinance number 2024-45.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Biddlecombe.
I move that ordinance number 2024-45 be placed on its third reading.
Questions on the third, final? Roll call.
Middlecombe?
Yes.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Greaves?
Yes.
Mr. Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, members of council, staff, and guests in attendance, and those watching from home. This is ordinance number 2024-45. An ordinance amending codified ordinance section 305.01, traffic control map, and codified ordinance section 305.02, traffic control file, regarding no right turn 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Maple Avenue from Lake Erie Parkway, and no parking, stopping, or standing on both sides of Maple Avenue anytime between Buckeye Road and Deerwood Road, and on the west side of Ohio Street between McCormick to Cleveland Road West, and on Jim Campbell Boulevard from the Gym Access Road to the handicap parking area within the city of Huron, Ohio.
Very good. Chief Graham.
Good evening, members of council, Mr. Mayor. This is our third and final reading of a series of complaints that eventually made its way to the Safety Committee. Safety Committee unanimously agreed to forward to council some changes to the stop sign at Lake Erie Boulevard and Maple of the restricted hours, which pretty much includes arrival and dismissal times, to assist in a traffic congestion problem with vehicles turning right there and then going northbound on Buckeye. Additionally, the no parking at any time area, both east and westbound between Buckeye and Deerwood, will be changed to no parking, stopping, or standing. And this will also be changed a small area in front of the high school, from the gymnasium access road up to the handicap area, and also in front of McCormick School from Cleveland Road West up to the school southbound. It should alleviate some traffic problems and some issues. If approved tonight, it will be enforceable starting January 11th. We may have the signs posted before then. If we do, we'll use that as a time for education. I'll also will touch bases with the superintendent of the schools to send out an email to the parents to remind them of these proposed forthcoming changes.
Good. Any questions for Chief Graham? Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Schrader. Nothing. Gave me a look like there was something there. Okay. Final adoption.
Middlecombe?
Yes.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Very good. Next, move on to ordinance number 2024-47.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Dyke.
I move that we place ordinance number 2024-47 on its third and final reading.
Question on the third and final. Roll call, please.
Dyke,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Biddlecombe,
Yes.
Klaus,
Yes.
Cap,
Yes. Mr. Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is ordinance number 2024-47. An ordinance amending and replacing section 1137.03 yard modifications of the Huron Codified Ordinances and amending and restating chapter 1123 residence districts to add related cross references.
Very good. Mr. Lasko.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As done with the previous two council meetings, first and second reading, I'm going to defer to Attorney Waters to talk council and the community through that legislation.
I would have done that, but Dean was down here. So. Mr. Waters.
Thank you, members of council, Mr. Mayor. We are on our third final reading of this ordinance. Essentially, this ordinance modifies Part A of 1137.03. The previous wording of this section was rather confusing, even to people who went to law school and have a law degree. So in reading this, there were some complaints from staff and that they didn't know what it meant. So this was redrafted. Essentially, what this modification does, it keeps the meaning of that section consistent from what it was prior, but makes it easier to read. And it makes the setback from any residential structure to be equal to neighboring two buildings on either side of the lot. So if the neighboring two buildings are farther back than the minimum, then the new building or the new residence that will be put in there will have that minimum increase, so it's in line with the other houses. And then the other way also, if the neighboring buildings or residences are closer than the minimum, then the minimum can be reduced on the new residence. And it limits it. It has to be at least 10 feet from the property line and not exceeding 50. So
Must be a minimum of what?
10 feet
10 feet? Okay.
and a maximum of 50. It also adds cross references to Chapter 1123, Section .01 to .04, which describes the normal setbacks for these residential districts. So when you're looking in those sections, whoever's referencing those will know to look at this section for any possible variance. So I would open up to questions if there are any.
Any questions for Mr. Waters? Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Final adoption.
Dyke,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Biddlecombe,
Yes.
Klaus,
Yes.
Cap,
Yes. Moving on to new business, we have resolution number 92-2024.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Biddlecombe.
I move to waive the three reading rule and to place resolution number 92-2024 on its first reading.
Questions on the three reading? Roll call, please.
Biddlecombe,
Yes.
Klaus,
Yes.
Cap,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Mr. Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is resolution number 92-2024, a resolution ratifying the city manager's acceptance of the proposal and execution of an agreement with Medical Mutual for the provision of 2025 medical health insurance coverage.
Mr. Lasko.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As mentioned, we don't do this often and we don't like to do it, but this is a ratification for something that we had to sign pretty quickly at the end of November. This is our one-year healthcare renewal with Medical Mutual. We did put in the summary, we're seeing about a $116,000 increase to our premium compared to 2023, which is between an 8 to 9% increase. I do want to note, unfortunately, as we've seen skyrocketing healthcare costs, we've nearly doubled our premiums since 2022. So staff will be spending a lot of time early next year to see if we can eradicate some of these larger increases we've seen over the last couple of years. I do want to mention we have, as part of this increase, we have also increased the employee contribution from 5% to 6% to offset some of that increase that the city is experiencing. And then finally, as part of this renewal, we're doing a bit of an overhaul where we're moving from a HRA to an HSA, where basically we provide funding into an HSA account for our employees to draw down from. to offset their medical expenses. Why we like an HSA and prefer that compared to the HRA is we know what the expense is with an HSA. It's not volatile. It's not changing. We deposit the money one time, and we know what that is. It's predictable. The final thing I'll mention before I can answer any questions, we put in here the premium and the HSA as an estimate. Ultimately, that number could change as we go through open enrollment. There may be people that drop off our insurance. There may be people that join our insurance. So the premium number in here and the HSA number in here are based off last year's enrollment. I will note open enrollment ends this Friday, so if there are any modifications to these numbers, we'll alert council, but they may change slightly. But again, it's just a one-year renewal. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Lasko? Very good. Final adoption.
Middlecombe?
Yes.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Okay, next we have resolution number 93-2024.
Mayor,
Mr. Greaves.
I make a motion waiving the three reading rule, placing resolution number 93-2024 on its first reading.
Questions on the three reading rule? Roll call.
Reeves?
Yes.
Heggie? Nope. Middlecombe?
Yes.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Very good. Mr. Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 93-2024. A resolution authorizing the city manager to make application to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Division of Watercraft, for a 2025 Marine Patrol Assistance Grant for the Huron Police Harbor Patrol Program in the city of Huron, and further authorizing the city manager to accept the grant award in an amount not to exceed $34,902.73, and enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Division of Watercraft, should the application be successful.
Very good. Chief Graham.
Members of council, Mr. Mayor, this is our annual Marine Patrol grant that we submit to ODNR Watercraft. The maximum amount is $35,000. We have $34,902.73, and this is for application, and if we receive an award to accept that. There is a 25% match on that, which will be $11,634.24 for a total of to run this program of $46,536.97.
Any questions for Chief Graham? The yearly thing that we go.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you. Final adoption.
Reeves?
Yes.
Middlecombe?
Yes.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Okay, next we have resolution number 94-2024. I make a motion that resolution number 94-2024 be placed on its first reading and the three reading rule be waived. Questions on the three reading? Roll call.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Middlecombe?
Yes.
Klaus?
Yes.
Mr. Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is resolution number 94-2024. A resolution authorizing a grant application submission by the City of Huron Fire Department to the Assistance to Firefighter Grant Program in the amount of $86,062, and further authorizing the city manager to accept the grant award in an amount not to exceed $86,062, and enter into an agreement with the Assistance to Firefighter Grant Program should the application be successful.
Captain Nash is not here, so Mr. Lasko.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're seeking permission to apply and, if awarded, accept a grant from the Assistance to Firefighter Grant Program. The fire department is seeking to replace the fire hoses. The total cost for that project is just over $90,000 to replace the hoses. As mentioned, this is a grant program that does require a 5% local match. So the grant request is for just over $86,000. The city responsibility, that 5%, is around $4,300. I do want to note, due to our agreement with the township, that $4,300 would be split 50-50 between the township and the city if awarded. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Lasko?
Would we need to do that no matter what to replace them?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councilman Greaves, at some point, we would have to. This is very much like, if you remember the bunker gear from earlier in the year, I think we ended up replacing around 25% of it between the township and the city, and then fortunately we were awarded a grant. So at some point, we will have to. Prior to that, I think we want to turn over every stone and see if we can get these funded through grant funding.
And I can just add, so that the hose, every hose gets tested every year. So it goes through the process, and I'm not sure how many years ago, but some of it does get nicks in it, fittings and stuff. So, but yeah, every whole piece of hose on over there gets tested every year. So,
And I did just want to mention, Mr. Mayor, to further answer Mr. Greaves' question, it's not in the budget for 2025, but I believe it would be for 2026 that we would have to replace them. But it is not set to be replaced in 25, but if we can get these grant funds, we'd certainly do it in 25.
Dyke?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Middlecombe?
Yes.
Klaus?
Yes.
very good. Next, we move on to resolution number 95-2024.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Biddlecombe.
I move to waive the three reading rule and to place resolution number 95-2024 on its first reading.
Questions on the three reading? Roll call, please.
Middlecombe?
Yes.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is resolution number 95-2024. A resolution authorizing the city manager to accept the proposal and enter into a professional AEP services contract with OHM Advisors for the provision of professional engineering services provided to the city of Huron at a cost not to exceed $85,000 for the contract term January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025.
Very good. Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's OHM time of year again. We changed up how we're going to do the contract this year. The prices kept going up, so we had to change something. So we're entering into agreement, if approved, for $85,000. The minimum amount that will be paid out in this contract will be $51,000. The rest of the money on this contract is an as-needed basis. So that $51,000 basically covers Larry being here for grant applications, inspections, doing some of our stormwater changes. Then this will be renewed every year. If it works out, we'll stick to this format instead of having the 94,000+ we paid last year. So we expect changes on this savings on this contract.
Good. Questions, Mr. Dyke?
So OHM, just so I understand, we have them basically in a retainer, and then when a project comes in, they help us do the engineering services, correct?
So as it currently stands right now, we have a client rep in Larry who sits in the office for 24 hours a week. We use OHM, they will do our engineers' estimates, they will help us through the design of biddings. When we get to projects, we actually get a price from them and they're paid outside of the contract for project work. So the contract is really for in-house engineering rather than outside contract work.
Now, is this for things that come from, like somebody comes into the community that wants to build, they review them? Or is there engineering? Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. The building stuff goes to the township, but what our in-house engineering will do, they will look at the stormwater, they will look at the stormwater control, they'll look at anything that's outside the building purview and outside the zoning purview. And they'll do floodplain evaluations, they'll do a lot of those stuff for us. You mentioned grants. Did they find us a lot of grants last year?
So Larry does most of our grants. Usually the city manager and myself will find a lot of the grants. They go to Larry. Larry does the legwork to see what we need to do them. And then he'll go through the application process for us. We'll sign off of it and he applies them. So he does a lot of the legwork for a lot of the loans and grants that we get.
I just think it's a valuable resource to have somebody that looks at grants. I know I've mentioned this before. Even in a greater capacity, I think we should look for people that have strong aptitude behind finding grants. So I know there's big pools of money out there, both state, federal, help our community.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And just for the audience, he was speaking
French.
It was Larry. It wasn't Laddie. Thanks, Stu.
I'm a student from high school.
All right. If there's no more questions, final adoption.
Fiddlecombe?
Yes.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Greaves?
Yes.
Okay, next we have resolution number 96-2024.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Klaus.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to waive the 3 reading rule and place resolution number 96-2024 on its 3rd and final reading, please.
Questions on the 3 reading?
First
reading.
First reading, I'm sorry.
Questions? Roll call.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Greaves?
Yes.
Fiddlecombe?
Yes.
Good. Mr. Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is resolution number 96-2024, a resolution authorizing the city manager to make an annual premium payment to the Bureau of Workers' Compensation for the policy period January 1, 2025 through January 1, 2026 in an amount not to exceed $61,080.
Good. Mr. Woodman.
Mr. Mayor and Council, we were on a roll with BWC where we were hovering right around 50,000 a year. This year they decided to break that record and made it 61. So it's just one of those things that you have to do it.
Questions for Mr. Woodman? Final adoption.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Greaves?
Yes.
Fiddlecombe?
Yes.
Next we have resolution number 97-2024.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Klaus.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to waive the 3 reading rule and place resolution number 97-2024 on its 1st and final reading, please.
Questions on the final reading? Roll call.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Greaves?
Yes.
Fiddlecombe?
Yes.
Mr. Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is resolution number 97-2024, a resolution authorizing the city manager's acceptance of the proposal and entering into an agreement with True Assure Insurance Company for the provision of 2025 dental insurance coverage.
Mr. Woodman.
Mr. Mayor and Council, our dental insurance people are practically perfect. They've keeping the cost the same for a number of years. I don't want to jinx it, but
All right. Very
we're
good.
on a roll.
Any questions? Final adoption.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Greaves?
Yes.
Fiddlecombe?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution number 98-2024.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Klaus.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to waive the 3 reading rule and place resolution number 98-2024 on its 1st and final reading, please.
Questions on the 3 reading? Roll call, please.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Greaves?
Yes.
Fiddlecombe?
Yes.
Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is resolution number 98-2024, a resolution authorizing the city manager's acceptance of the proposal and entering into a 2-year agreement with VSP Vision Care for the provision of 2025 and 2026 vision insurance coverage.
Very good. Mr. Woodman.
One more time, Mr. Mayor and Council, this one, no cost increase. We like those.
Very good.
I have a question. What is the cost for that? I'm just curious. Per year. Don't worry about it. I'll find it. It's no big thing.
Let's see where it says the total cost.
Yeah, so the rates are $12.40 for single and $28 for family or children. So it depends on the enrollment. That's why it doesn't have a total.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Most of the renewals is then $12.90 or
Yes, I'm sorry, the renewal rates are $12.29.
so just slightly
Slightly
a few
higher.
cents more. Yeah, that's all. Basically equal in today's world.
Right.
Or savings in today's world.
All right. Final adoption.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Middlecom?
Yes.
Okay, next we have ordinance number 2024-53.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Klaus.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to place ordinance number 2024-53, waive the three reading rule, and place this ordinance on its first and final reading, please.
Questions on first and final? Roll call, please.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Middlecom?
Yes.
Mr. Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is ordinance number 2024-53, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2023-49, adopted on December 12, 2023, to provide for supplemental appropriations from the general fund and other funding sources.
Mr. Whitman.
Yes, the mayor and council, we're making an adjustment so that the police department can take advantage of remaining dollars in the Marine Patrol grant, moving it from wages and fringes into other expenses.
Questions on that? Final adoption.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes.
Dyke?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Middlecom?
Yes.
Okay, lastly, we have resolution number 101-2024.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Dyke.
I would like to waive the three reading rule and place resolution number 101-2024 on its first reading.
Questions on the three reading? Roll call, please.
Dyke?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Middlecom?
Yes.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes. Mr. Schrader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is resolution number 101-2024, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a renewal contract with the Erie County Sheriff for the provision of emergency dispatch services to the city of Huron police and fire departments for an amount not to exceed $189,642.90 for the agreement term January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2026.
One of my perfect discussions here. Come on, Chief.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and members of council, this is a 2-year agreement with the Erie County Sheriff's Office to provide dispatch services. The reason why 2-year is this will put us in line with the dispatchers bargaining unit negotiations. I anticipate in 2 years that it will probably go to a 3-year contract that will be in line with the dispatchers contract. The annual amounts are lower than what we were paying before. We've now switched to a percentage which is determined by the amount of calls that you have for police and fire. So this is our contribution between police and fire.
Questions? The money.
189 each year? What is
No, for the 2 years. It's
We're trying to do 3 years, you think?
I almost guarantee it. So it's the first for 2025. It's $97,021.92. For 2026, it's $92,620.97. Right now, we currently pay about $85.10 a month, and this would be $79.01 a month.
I mean, we're up 30,000.
It was higher for. We were about at 102. They were trying to do about 110. We're down to right around 92,000.
Back in the house. I mean,
Might be
no
some
other
point.
option, right?
Excuse me?
No other option, right?
No,
to
right
do
now
this?
there's no other option.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us to do it in house, I estimate it'd be probably in the area of 400 a year, So right now we're at 92.
Can do like a part-time. Percentage on, need equipment, all that.
Not for 24-hour service.
That's what's it, but they wouldn't take over, where's the 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. or?
I mean, we tried that. We did a pilot program where we did sheriff's office dispatching from midnight to 8, and we did our own from 8 in the morning till midnight, and it eventually dissolved.
Any other questions? Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Final adoption.
Dyke?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Middlekauff?
Yes.
Klaus?
Yes.
Cap?
Yes. Very good. Now for the audience, this is like one of our highlights. This is the manager's discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, those in the audience, those at home. Quick update on the former ConAgra property. We are finalizing the process with ODNR to formally dedicate a portion of the ODNR boat launch property as public right-of-way, which is really the driveway entrance. Preliminary dedication plat has been sent to Erie County for review, and we'll ultimately bring that to council to be legislated hopefully in the next couple weeks. I know Mr. Schrader's been working with the surveyors in the county to get that to the point of being legislated. As part of that plat, the city then would turn around and provide a temporary name for the roadway. We do have to provide just a temporary name, which I believe we're calling Access Street for the sake of recording the plat. Ultimately, we will need to come up with a permanent name, and staff, at least at the moment, is proposing just to call it River Road, very much like Berlin Road crosses north and south. Keeping that as River Road may make sense. Ultimately, that'll be a councilmatic decision. But we'll have that discussion here in the upcoming weeks. We're also putting the finishing touches on a joint easement agreement with ODNR, which will permit the city temporary construction easements outside of the normal roadway, while also providing ODNR an access easement across the property that they just dedicated or will dedicate to the city to ensure that people have perpetual access to the boat launch. A few updates in zoning code and planning. The law department completed their drafts to address light trespass on residential buildings. This is not the nuisance component, which has already been approved. This is basically changes to our code when people are constructing a new residence or adding on to a residence so that we can address light trespass during the construction process. We do plan to introduce that legislation to council for its first reading on December 18th. Also, I know there's been some back and forth through some emails this morning related to the property at 802 Williams. At one point, that was going to be donated to the city. Then in the interim, it was sold to be renovated. Now that new property owner has decided to demolish the property due to issues they have. Now that they've been renovating the property, they view that as unsalvageable. So they're going to move forward with demolition on their own. As such, we've notified the Erie County Land Bank that there's no need for us to retain the $20,000 grant proceeds that they were going to provide the city for the demolition. Moving on to finance, we did obviously conclude our finance committee meetings Monday, November 25th. That budget was unanimously recommended to council, and we will have a public hearing on December 18th prior to considering the budget, which is next Wednesday. Also, I want to mention specifically Ohio House Bill 296. We continue to pay close attention as that works its way through the legislature. As a background, that bill would increase employer contributions to the Ohio Police and Fire Pension Fund, specific for police officers. If approved, employer contributions would increase from 19.5% to 24% over a 6-year period. It's already been approved by the House and is moving to the Senate. I will note countless municipalities, particularly some of the larger ones, have come out against the bill, including the Ohio Municipal League, due to the major financial constraints it's going to place on every single municipality that pays into any type of pension fund. So we'll continue to keep council aware of potential budget ramifications if that is in fact approved by the Senate. And signed by the governor. Moving on to the water department, I did want to congratulate Kyle Capodice for passing his water supply 1 examination. Very well done. Also a note on the west side water tower, an extension was granted by the Ohio Department of Development to commit funds for the $5 million grant that we've received. The project must be awarded to a contractor by June 30th, 2025, and construction must be completed by August 1st, 2026. So we're happy that ODOD was willing to agree to that extension of funding. Quick update in personnel, particularly as relates to our bargaining unit negotiations. We've held multiple meetings with all 4 bargaining units, just as a status of each for council's benefit. The patrol officers voted to approve the contract, and this will be considered by council at our December 18th meeting. The sergeants also voted to approve the contract, and that will be considered at the December 18th meeting as well. AFSCME reps have tentatively agreed, but they still need to formally vote, which we hope that vote to occur this week. And if so, if in the affirmative, we will present that contract to council on the 18th as well. And then fire, I do anticipate us still needing a little bit of work, so it's not unforeseen that contract approval may bleed into January. Looking at agreements and city managers' approvals, going back to the ODOD water tower grant, we did enter into that first amendment with the Ohio Department of Development to move back the usage of those funds to August of 2026. Also did want to mention one project that is out to bid, the Huron Public Power Substation Switchgear Procurement. A request for bids was posted on December 4th. For the switch gears. The last day for questions is December 30th, and the bids are due January 6th, 2025 at 2:00 p.m. Also just want to mention, and Stuart said I could say this, but the website goes live December 17th. There still may be some functionality things that we'll work through, but he said I could say it on the record. December 17th.
Maybe I won't be here the 18th.
Yeah, we'll be the 18th. We can have another executive session if necessary.
Wow, you don't see one.
We're gonna make the year end. Oh boy, that was been a big push.
Meetings to finish out the month. Planning Commission meeting Wednesday, December 18th at 5:00 in the council chambers. The second city council meeting is Wednesday, December 18th at 6:30 in the council chambers. And then a reminder to the public that city administrative offices will be closed December 24th, Christmas Eve, starting at noon. We'll also be closed December 25th, Christmas, for the entire day. We'll be closed December 31st, New Year's Eve, starting at noon. And then January 1st, 2025, all day in observance of New Year's Day. That concludes my remarks. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Lasko? Mr. Greaves?
Maybe I heard it wrong. Wasn't that other side of River Road going to be tap lane?
If that's council's
No
prerogative,
reason,
absolutely.
No reason to even answer that. Moving on right on. Yeah, no, I think you're confusing that with Lake Lasko. Any other questions for Mr. Lasko? Very good. Moving on, it's the mayor discussion. First, I want to thank all you gentlemen and ladies for showing up tonight. I'm guessing everybody's from Mrs. Merkin's class. Is that what I understood? Or yes? You guys are welcome to come anytime, all right? And we try to keep it semi-light. I mean, you guys heard Stu talk, so you know how that goes. But if you have any questions, again, you guys can come up to the council podium there and, you know, ask during stuff. And any questions, you want to talk to anybody, you can reach out after the meeting, reach out during the week, whatever. Got any kind of questions, call any of us. Staff, council, whoever. Our numbers are posted there. So
1104.
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys showing up.
If you have any questions.
Next, Winterfest was this past Saturday, right? The days mixed up. It went well. The weather was not the most inviting. It got a little windy, but the lights on the trees did get lit up. did have some good things, a lot of good things said about the Parks Department putting that on. So thanks, Doug, and thank your staff, everybody else that did show up to the Winterfest. And lastly, I just my condolences goes with Mr. Biddlecombe. He had a passing in the family this past week, so I just want to let you know that our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Next, we have for the good of the order, Mr. Greaves.
Now for the good of the order.
Mr. Dyke.
I would like to also give my condolences to the Biddlecombe family. Sorry for your loss. I would also got the flyer in the mail for, I don't even know what the name we call it, Huron, about the city of Huron. But all the individuals that have been here for a number of years that have worked for the city, I just want to say congratulations. I didn't realize the number of years some of those individuals had, and it was pretty impressive to see. So, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Klaus.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also want to congratulate, thank Doug and his staff for a great, another great event, Winterfest. I think it was a good turnout. I heard some good feedback on the parade and things. Obviously, it was winter, so we actually had winter weather. It would have been maybe nice, it was a little warmer. Really good fireworks, and there was a lot of people out and about in town. I was out on North Main area, and there was a lot of people out, and the businesses were busy, so as well, which is another good thing. And I would also like to give my condolences to the Biddlecombe family for their loss, and that's all I have.
Good, Mr. Biddlecombe.
All right. Thank you, staff, for all your hard work. Congratulations to Doug and your team for great Winterfest. You know, I drove in the parade again this year, and I attended the tree lighting and the fireworks, and they were all well attended, and it was really great. The next school board meeting is coming up on Monday, December 16th at 6 p.m. at the high school. And we've got some home games coming up. Girls basketball, December 21st, 28th, and January 4th. Boys basketball, December 10th, 17th, 21st, 27th, and January 10th and 11th. And bowling, December 14th, 17th, and then January 7th and 8th. I'd like to thank all the students that came here from Mrs. Merkin's class. Feel free to give me a call or send me an email if you have any questions. And if anyone's interested, after this meeting, I'll show you how to get on the website to where our full packet was that we were looking at tonight. So please come out and support all of our local events, programs, student athletes, and go Tigers.
Very good.
I think you should get a picture with them. You're there.
Mayor McBun.
What's that?
Put it on the website.
Come on, guys. You're going to get it with the whole council, though. So.
Oh, the mayor.
Come on.
Tap lane.
Tap lane.
Announcing tap lane.
Yep.
Come on, Louis, sit down. Have at it.
You guys can see I don't just doodle up here.
Make council stand up, guys. Get the chairs.
Yep.
It's a coup.
Now you guys can actually prove that you were here.
Get over here. You guys want to open it? All right. Everybody smile and say, this is Mrs. Merkins. Extra credit. Laddie.
Thanks for coming, guys.
It's not supposed to make me laugh.
Thank you. Get out of here. Get out of here. Let's go. Get out.
Hope you get extra credit for that.
Yeah. All right. If nobody has anything else, we are going to have an executive session. Mr. Klaus.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Klaus.
I make a motion that we enter into executive session to consider compensation of a public employee or official. We will possibly have legislation or a vote after this executive session.
We shall invite
We shall invite the law director, Mr. Schrader.
Questions? All right. Roll call.
Klaus,
Yes.
Knapp,
Yes,
Dyke,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Philcom.
Yes.
you're good. We'll be in executive session. All right, city council meeting is back in session.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Klaus.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to give the city manager a one-time performance cash bonus of 10% of current 2024 base pay for, or 24, no base salary or cost of living increase for 2025.
Questions on that motion? Roll call.
Klaus,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Dyke,
Well deserved, yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Bilko.
Yes.
Very good. So moved. At this point, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Biddlecombe,
I move that we adjourn tonight's meeting.
all those in favor?
Yes.
No.
Roll call.
Bilko.
Yes.
Klaus,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Reeves.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.